Good morning or noon time, lunchtime. Good lunchtime. Hello, friends. How are you? Welcome on in. Uh, Sound check with my mods. Everything sound good on y'all's end? I think I sound okay. I think I'm coming through. Anyway, welcome in, everybody. It's been a couple of days since I've been live and all the things. Been sick. Yeah, grandbaby caught a little summer cold and gave it to me, and I've not felt good the last couple days. But I've been doing research, working on a couple of shows upcoming, not high profile cases, because right now I'm a little over high profile cases. Like, I kind of don't want to touch one with a 10-foot pole. Does that make sense? But I kind of do, but kind of don't. So I've been living in that world the last couple of days. Trying to let everything settle down for a moment, too. Um, Good deal. Sound is good. Welcome in, everybody. Forrest, Rachel, Butterfly, my mod team coming in strong. I appreciate you guys. Motion to Scream, my beautiful friend, Sajoy with her beautiful name. Welcome on in, guys. Carrie, good to see you here. All right, so this is not going to be a super long live, guys. I really wasn't planning to go live today. I've been laying around, honestly. I literally just got my first cup of coffee of the day, and it's a cold cup of coffee. That's how if I don't feel good, I can't even drink coffee, and that says a lot for someone like me. But I am enjoying this cold coffee, and I have missed you guys. So when I saw this little bit of news, I was like, I think I need to go live and talk about that while it's happening right now. Okay. If for the record, my mods are aware of how I roll around here. They know I can handle my chat, and they know I can handle, things coming in, and I can address it. They also know if I'm reading a document, or if I'm in the middle of a co-host or a guest or whatever, they're going to do their thing because they know me. But with that said, going forward with the Idaho 4 case, when people want to come into chat with a different opinion, that's fine. Bring it. Be respectful. But when you come into this chat and you bring conversations you're hearing and viewing in other chats, and you don't elaborate on what you're telling me in my chat that you want me to now address, we're going to have a problem. Because this happened the other day. Let's just clarify right here, right now. Murphy the dog was never kidnapped or stolen from the Humane Society. And the people who brought that amazing video to you, who sat there and literally laughed like little children while watching, I had to go review because it kept getting sent to me. You got it wrong, Salty. The dog was kidnapped. Really? Go watch those people that told you that and wait to the end of their video, and you'll see the truth if you stuck around that long. But in the meantime, the laughing, like little 19-year-old, actually, it was worse than that. It was like watching a couple of 12-year-olds laugh at something that I didn't even understand what we were laughing about, but okay. So if you want to come in and say, well, hey, what about this? Then explain yourself, and then we'll have a conversation. But if you're just coming in hot with, fact you heard from a pro burger channel, I don't know how to address those here because I don't pay attention to that stuff. And when I tell you I've been in this case for nearly 3 years, nothing is new to me. Even the stuff they're going to say and are willing to say and spread. And I'm just not here for it. So, yeah, that's how we're going to roll going forward. I never wanted to cover the garbage of Idaho 4 to start with. My intention was never to do it in that way. Talk about the facts of the case, things like that, what all is coming out, different things. Y'all know we've read dozens and dozens and dozens of court documents over here. We've poured through it. We just read 300 reports from the police department, right? All the things. So we're going to roll the way we roll over here. I just want my chat to be happy. I don't want people to come in sideways at chat. And so far that does not happen. So I do appreciate that. Even for the ones who come in with a different opinion, they're welcome. Just be respectful and let's have a true conversation, right? Motion to scream. Girl, I was wanting to scream a few times during my live the other day because I knew where this shit was coming from. I just don't like calling out creators and having this big ass war with people. I'm not here for that. I'm not that lady. I'm not going to sit in the backyard and cackle about your ass. I don't honestly care, right? I'm going to sit in the backyard and record documents. That's the way I like to roll. So, anyway. All right. So, guys, y'all have heard me talk about the search warrant return from the Pennsylvania home when they got out there and arrested Kohberger and searched his parents' home. And then you know how when we found out that shovel was in the trunk, how I immediately wanted a soil test as if I was some big investigator. Like, now I want the soil test. Anyway, we also wondered what a lot of those things were on that search warrant return. And there was an item of interest that said there was a book with a page underlined, and it was page 118. We're all like, well, what the hell could that possibly be? Well, it was a self-help book, apparently. Not a Big Bad Bundy book, not Elliot Rodgers' manifesto. We were all wrong, speculating. The doctors even got that wrong. It was a Bundy book. It was nobody knew for sure. It was a lot of speculation, and that I speculated myself. I was torn between the Bundy book or Elliot Rodgers. I've read both pages 118 of both of those, and they're both pretty weird, right? According to the Idaho Statesman, the actual book wasn't that weird after all. So we're going to take a look at that. That's what we came here to do, was take a look at that. Hey, Sirius, welcome on in. Welcome in, friend. All right, so without further ado, let me get this. This is coming from Kevin Fixler at the Idaho Statesman. And they got this in part of their FOIA stuff, I guess. Actually, this was part of an interview he did, I think. Let me pull this up, guys. I'm just going to read you the article, show you the book. We'll read the page. They also have an article out we'll take a look at in a minute. A new headline from 3 hours ago. Cops didn't see him throwing trash in the neighbor's bin after all? Oh, hell, we got to get to that in a minute. Okay. Oh, Lord, see, I'm going to go down a rabbit hole I didn't want to go down today. Trying to avoid this case like the plague for 2 days. I'm not even lying. I've been down deep rabbit holes with local cases for 2 days researching some stuff that I'm working on. Oh, here's a weird picture of Mama. What is this? Oh, I'm accidentally scrolling through Twitter instead of looking at what I wanted to look at, and I ran across some stupid shit by a certain FBI agent. We'll ignore that. We don't mess with her. I don't. She's a good waste of my brain space. Okay, here we go. Let me get that pulled up. Now I'll share the screen. Y'all give me some grace. I have not been feeling well, like I said. Okay, here we go. So this is what Fixler's reporting this morning. People following the Idaho 4 murder case long wanted to know what the book police seized in PA from Bryan Kohberger with the underlining on page 118. We finally got the name, though we're still unsure what was underlined. Here's a copy of the self-help book. Now they go into the article, and the detective tells him the name of the book, but they don't tell him what page is underlined. I don't think I think he said he was unfamiliar with so this is a pretty decent article, I think, guys. It's like a whole timeline here, multiple homicide reported. It goes through a whole entire timeline. And when I skimmed through it this morning, it seems fairly accurate. Except it goes back, and Dolphin and I were having a conversation last night. I think we talked for, I don't even know how long me and that girl talked. We hadn't talked in a minute. We had a lot to talk about. And we're like, who actually saw the sheath on the bed first? Was it Payne or Gilbertson? According to Gilbertson, it was actually Payne. And that's just little tidbits that she and I hone in on because of the facts that we've known surrounding the case. And because I ask questions, guys, does not mean I don't think Kohberger did this, because I absolutely fully believe he did, right? The guy said he did it. I don't have no reason to doubt it. So we're just going to look at all right, there. That's not the knife. I'm just trying to get down to the part we want to see first. That was the DNA stuff. Let me scroll through quickly, guys. Screenshot of the car. And I will link this for you guys, if you don't have, if you can go on Twitter and look it up under Kevin Fixler. If one of my mods wants to drop the link in chat, that'd be great as well. Let me find. Wish I'd had this set up. Oh, there's that picture. What's in your pocket, buddy? What is in your pocket? Oh, who, me? The guy who don't want to give up his phone number? And I don't think seatbelts save lives? That guy? Yeah, you, Coburger. Your attorney sure didn't want that video in, did she? And I completely understood why. But everybody else was like, what's wrong with that video? He's normal. Was he really? Go watch the hearing and see exactly what his attorney said about that video and why they wanted it out. It makes perfect sense. Get your games in the head. Get your head in the game. I can't even talk. Good God, how long was their damn article here? Did he write a fucking novel? Where did it go? My God. Don't make me read this whole damn thing, but I will. And it also should have had the picture. And here they double down on Xana did go up the stairs. But again, how do they know that? Because Dylan's relaying sketchy information about what she heard. She didn't even hear the girl screaming from her bedroom, but yet a camera 50 feet away at the neighbor's house could freaking hear it. So I don't trust a damn thing Dylan was hearing in the house. I don't mean to be rude. I'm a grown-ass woman who's a little bit over it, and I can no longer coddle the situation. So I don't know that Xana ran up those stairs. Nobody in that house knows who ran down those stairs. Certainly not Dylan. Sorry, I had to go on a little rant about that because I am very partial and protective of Miss Xana. All those kids hold a very special place in my heart, but Xana is my girl, and I don't like nobody fucking with her. I can't help it. I wanted to just reach through that video and go in that house and stop that dude the other night when I was having to hear that shit. Okay. And I had made the comment about something I was hearing within that video, and lo and behold, when I was talking to Dolphin yesterday, she asked me if I heard it, and I said, yeah, I did. Did you hear it too? She said, yeah, I did. You can almost make out some of the things Xana's actually saying to this asshole. Or should I say screaming at this asshole. She's not talking. She's screaming. Oh, look, the suspected green leafy substance was actually marijuana, but it was in the spare bedroom. The suspected drugs were marijuana, according to a police report in a state where cannabis is legal for medical purposes. It was found in a spare room of the home, so it was unclear where if the marijuana was Koberger's, Gilbertson said. The handgun was registered to him and also found in his lower level bedroom with 3 empty magazines and the record of sale. Well, gun enthusiast in the making. Why was the marijuana in the spare bedroom? That way you could blame it on Sissy? I mean, it's just pot, dude. It probably helped with your visual snow. It probably helped with your autoimmune disease. It probably helped with a multitude of things. Let's get serious. Even the president is reconsidering the effects of marijuana. Now, back to the book. The book Gilbertson said was titled Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. Interesting name, isn't it, guys? Feel the fear and do it anyway. Joe Schmo, you fucking I say don't do it anyway. No, I just got to finish reading that comment. Joe says, feel the fear and do it anyway. That would be the title of my book on getting married, except there would be a don't in there somewhere. I hear you, dude. We need to write that book together, Joe. All right. God, Jesus. I needed that laugh, Joe. Thank you, my friend. All right. So the self-help book about techniques for turning anger and indecision into action. Gilbertson didn't know what had been underlined, but said it remains in police evidence. And I thought they had a picture of the book here in the on this part of it, but I guess we'll just read it from here. Okay. So, the knowledge that you can handle anything that comes your way is the key to allowing yourself to take risks. Getting back into my earlier example, if the outcome of your choosing to move to a new job is for you to lose that job within a few months, you now see how you will have the opportunity to strengthen your self esteem by facing the storm, regrouping your inner forces, reaching out once again to find a new, perhaps more satisfying position. In the meantime, you will be meeting new people and enlarging your world. Seen in this light, losing your job becomes a no lose situation. Now, he was in the middle of losing his TA job. This book was written, years and years, decades ago. How long did he have this book, and when did he actually pay this whatever he underlined? I have often said to my students that perhaps the lucky ones in life are those who have been forced to face things in their lives that we all hope will never have to face, such things as losing a job, the death of a loved one, divorce, bankruptcy, illness. Once you have handled any of those things, you emerge a much stronger person. That depends on the person there, Miss Ma'am, writing your book. You honestly, that depends on the person. I know a few, maybe she goes deeper into that in her book. I know of a few people who have experienced loss and haven't felt a large measure of pride in themselves at finding a way to make their lives work despite their adversity. Wow. They have discovered, these self-help people really, some of them, y'all, I don't know where they went to school at. They have discovered that, well, that's kind of small for me. Security is not having things, it's handling things. Was he not very good at handling things, guys? He's like, it seems like Koberger was always looking to self-help type stuff. That's why I always go back to, he was trying to figure himself out. This is not the first time we've seen indications of Koberger looking into things about himself, right? That's why I'm telling you, this guy was incredibly self-aware. Some people are so self-aware, they still can't stop the bad things from happening, but they know their self. They know their self. I know myself. It took a long time to get to know myself. I have stood in the mirror and dead ass stared at myself and been completely honest, hardcore, because no one knows the truth but you and Jesus. If you can stand there and look in the mirror and own your own shit for 5 minutes, you're making progress. But if you stand in the mirror and go, why is everybody so mean to me? You're not getting nowhere. How hard was he working on himself? I know of a few people who have experienced loss and haven't felt a large measure of pride in themselves at finding a way to make their lives work despite their adversity. Okay. Thus, when you can answer all your what ifs with I can handle it, you can approach all things with a no lose guarantee, and fear disappears. Now that you've learned there really are no right or wrong decisions when using the no lose model, there are steps you can take to heighten your awareness about the alternatives that lie before you. Y'all got to read this and tell me what y'all think he underlined. This awareness will better improve the chance of the outcome being aligned with your wishes. That's a pretty good line to underline, right? This awareness will better improve the chances of the outcome being aligned with your wishes and will give you greater peace of mind. I wish we knew which line he underlined. Maybe BK was a complete idiot and the only thing he highlighted was the number 118. Doubt it, Jeff. Y'all quit it. Look, I get bored so easily. It's just like sitting around talking about stupid weather. It's like, can we have I can't with empty conversations, right? Koberger wasn't stupid. He forgot his sheath. He didn't forget it. He left it in the heat of the moment. If we cannot wrap our heads around that, I cannot help you. True crime is a beast that I think a lot of people need to learn about. And I honestly am here for true crime stories, true crime investigations, true crime content. I'm trying hard to get away from the bullshit, if that makes sense, y'all. I mean, I don't mean, I'm not that serious around here. I don't like taking myself that seriously. I don't like put myself on some journalistic pedestal and all the things. It's, but the frivolous conversations, I can't with them anymore. Had them so many times, they just don't make any sense to keep having them, right? Page that underlined, and for a person looking into the psychological side, this is incredibly intriguing to me. I know it won't be to a lot of people, and a lot of people will not care. Just like, most of us don't care he's being harassed in prison. Do y'all know that's what prisons do, right? A lot of people didn't know that. They have no idea how prisons function, prison politics, what prisoners can do to one another, all that. It's like a big shock now. It's like, no, it's been going on for centuries and decades and hundreds of years, literally. It's a prison. Things happen. I don't care if Kohberger's being harassed right now. That doesn't matter. He's a lifer. If he was due to get out in 3 years, I could redeem himself and serve his time and do all the things. Different story. But we're not talking about that kind of guy, right? So I'm not even trying to have the conversation about what's going on with Kohberger in prison, because you know what we don't know is if it's true. We've got some reports by a couple. Well, let's just get down to the business. Nancy Grace put it out there. Chris McDonough doubled down. Enton called the jail, or the prison rather. Y'all have seen it. They're all talking about it. I don't care. I hope Chad's yelling at his ass through the fucking vents. I don't even like Chad Daybell, but yell at him, Chad Daybell. Like, ha ha, at least they're not picking on just me. Fucking weirdos. I still don't know. So there were a couple of things Dolphin and I had a conversation about last night. Just tiny little things in these documents that came down that made us ask a couple of extra questions. But like I said, it was nothing crazy stuff. But there's just little things, right, that doesn't make sense sometimes. And I don't know if it was all because in the early stages they were trying so hard to pretend they had a good suspect when they didn't. We didn't catch Kohberger because we got this IGG information. We found him because we got this car out of WSU parking lot on November 27th and all the weirdness, right? Now I made that little video for you guys. Let me take this down. So this is really what we came live to show you guys, was to show you the book. There's the picture of it. There's the page. You can read the entire page. I looked it up online a few minutes ago, but I didn't read anything out of it or anything like that, because I'm the last person in the world that needs a self-help book. Back when I went to therapy, she's like, you could be the therapist. And I'm like, yeah, I know. So I'm out. Peace out. Yeah. I could write the self-help book actually, but I don't feel like it. I probably could have helped this dude if I'd have known about his plight as a child. Maybe not. Some parents, you got to want the help, right, to get it. It's like a competition to get the latest deets. And we're sitting here waiting on the cops to give the deets. That's the thing. I don't mind. I appreciate when outlets do get discovery and share it. Openly share it with other people. Quit putting your stupid watermarks all over it. It ain't like it's special to you. Literally, thousands of people are getting the same freaking document, but you go on with your badass self and put your little watermark all over it, make everybody know it's yours. That shit irritates me. It's not a competition. It's public discovery, right? That's why I'm appreciating all the people in the Delphi community, whether I don't care where they sit on the subject. I don't study the drama of Delphi. What I do look at is the court documents and different things, and they're doing a jam up sharing it freely. I wish news media, mainstream media, would do the same thing. And they're the ones making it a competition, right? Look at me. I'm Billy Badass Reporter. I got this first, and y'all aren't out there giving me the credit I deserve because I got it first. Well, we mentioned that we got it from your tweet or your video or your whatever, but go do you, boo. And what are we doing here? True crime's not a competition. We don't make up true crime. Well, some do. Without victims, we wouldn't have a crime and we wouldn't even be here. So if I'm going to catch hell for supporting victims, then so freaking be it, right? Hey, 12 gauge, welcome in. Welcome in. Um, I think 12 gauge sits in the same basket I do with some of these people. We're just like, dude, we can't, all they're going to do is steal our joy and our energy, little vampires running amok out here in the streets. But yeah. So, and honestly, there's nothing else that's come down from the Koberger stuff that I want to even talk about. Like I said, I addressed the Murphy, the dog situation. People were like, literally, like, I never had that happen before. Like, me go live with something and people start bombarding me with, well, you don't know. Well, I just went and found out exactly where you heard that from. And guess what? They don't know. So don't, you know, come over here with a logical conversation. We'll have it. Otherwise, don't. And when you come over here and try to state a fact, tell me where you got the fact, right? And then we can have a conversation. Hell, we are coffee and crime conversations. It ain't y'all come listen to me because I know all the deets and y'all don't know nothing. I think that's weird too. And I don't like those creators. The minute I hear that kind of talk coming out their mouth, I'm turning that shit right on off. Hold up, Bubba. You a ex what? You do what for a living? And you're better than me somehow? You're a better thinker and all, and you want me to bloat your ego? No, I'm out. That's when I can't stand that. I can't. One thing I'm not is an ego feeder. I will run the other direction. I see them ego people coming, and I'm like, oh hell no, I can't. I don't have the energy for it. I'm not your girl for stroking that ego. Um, Let me pull that article back up, actually, Rach, because I want to read some more about this because I want the actual documents. We're still waiting on Pennsylvania to get their shit together and release us stuff because there's reports out of Pennsylvania that I want. Like, I want to see the Bearcat roll up in the front yard. I may call me weird, but I do. I want to see the drone footage that they claim they have when they were flying over the backyard, surveilling him. Not stalking, surveilling. And he's standing in the back sliding window looking out at him like, what the fuck? Cops are everywhere, man. I want to see that. And I spent yesterday, I've spent about 2 hours yesterday evening, I think, after a long nap, pouring through more of those Pullman documents because people were saying shit about that too. And yeah, there's nothing to see here, people. Except that I think that there was a possibility. I don't think it's actually Moscow, but did at some point investigators like with the ISP or with the FBI have a concern that the perpetrator could have been a member of law enforcement in some way, simply because of the lack of evidence left behind at the crime scene. And if you watch real true crime documentaries, you will see real investigators conclude the same type of thing when they are investigating a scene with a lack of evidence. Their first thought was, is this somebody in law enforcement? Because you can never say no, right? Okay, so let's see what this one says. If we can, wait a minute. Police started watching PA Family, home of Brian Koberger, December 20th, 6 days earlier than previously known. Let me get the screen up. 6 days earlier. Wait. FBI, hold on. Houston, we got a problem with some dates here. Because FBI didn't tell Moscow, Idaho who Kohberger was till December 27th. Police started watching PA family home of Brian Kohberger December 20th, 6 days earlier than previously known. He wasn't throwing trash in neighbors' bins. Police reports and interviews tell the story with Alex Breezy. What is this? Is it an article? Well, I know who Alex is, but hang on, guys. I'm trying to find what he's talking about. Why did he share her? Here we go. This is the article. On November 13th, Xana, Ethan, Kaylee, and Maddie were murdered in what law enforcement were calling a true whodunit, but a left-behind leather knife sheath would become the key to solving the case. Oh, I know what I did. Let me click this. Now I can pull this up for you guys. Let me take that down, and then we'll read this article. And there were a few notes that I have been making too about certain things that we're going to do a show. And like I said, guys, I have been doing some research the last couple of days on some other cases, and I've got a couple of guests lined up coming up. One won't be for another month, but I've got another one lined up as well. Let me get my article back up. Okay, here we go. Okay. If they've got documents, then freaking drop them, embed them in the article. Alex, I'm going to message you personally. Jesus Christ, I'm not messing with Fixler. He done got on my nerves. Okay, so the multiple homicides were reported by Brett Payne arrived at a white 3-story house in a neighborhood off the University of Idaho's campus in Moscow, November 13, 2022. It was 2 hours after a 22-year-old rookie patrol officer first reported back to emergency dispatch about a homicide recorded on the 911 call. Payne walked through the crime scene for his initial pass that Sunday afternoon. Items were strewn about like that of a typical college student. Payne wrote in a police report. He noticed nothing out of the ordinary on the first floor. That changed as he and one of the officers who initially responded walked upstairs, because there was literally nothing down there on first floor with Bethany, not even remnants of a firecracker that exploded outside her door. Allegedly. Flashbang leftovers, nothing. A lighter that got dropped and exploded, nothing. That changed as he and one of the officers who initially responded walked upstairs. There was a small second-floor bedroom. Payne saw a young woman, later identified as Xana Kernodle, with numerous stab wounds on her arms, hands, and face, lying on the floor next to her bed. Behind her, still in bed, or partly covered by a blanket, was her boyfriend Ethan Chapin. He was also dead. Payne continued upstairs to the third floor, where he saw 2 young women, later identified as childhood best friends Kaylee Gonzalez and Madison Mogan, laying on the bed beside each other, also dead, the report read. Next to the women was something out of place. Payne immediately spotted a key piece of evidence, according to the Idaho State Police Lieutenant Darren Gilbertson: a leather knife sheath. Now, if y'all venture off into those trailer parks, I can't stop you, but you're going to hear tell that Payne was in that room all alone and planted that sheath. Okay, well, Kohberger's an idiot who took a plea deal for no reason then, because I'd have absolutely fought that shit. But whatever. I don't believe, never did, that the stupid sheath was planted. Now I need a whole backstory. Why Kohberger? How'd you get his DNA? How'd you steal it? Yeah, I don't care that he uncovered some secret FBI database because he was undercover working for the government, stumbled upon their little secrets, and now they're trying to silence him by throwing him in prison. Yeah, I heard that too. All good. So they find the sheath, or Payne does. Payne relayed that detail to Gilbertson, who got to Moscow about a half hour later with his team. Police called Gilbertson in quickly to assist in what was the first quadruple homicide of his 20-year career. We knew it was important. How many quadruple homicides do cops get in their careers? We knew it was important. We knew it didn't fit there. Well, fuck no, it was a sheath. And your victims are bloody, and you were like, oh, that doesn't belong there. Y'all, I got a headache and I can't with this guy. I'm sorry. I'm going to be shady with him. All right. Not Gilbertson, but the way they word this stuff. It's like they sugarcoat it sometimes, and it's weird. We knew it was important. We knew it didn't fit there, Gilbertson told the Idaho Statesman. Obviously, we knew that it appeared all four were killed by a knife, and probably the same one. Fucking geniuses right here. Other potential clues were sparse. It soon became clear to Gilbertson, then a sergeant who drove up from Lewiston, that he was observing a senseless act of brutality against four college students, he told the Statesman. Of course it was senseless. Like, even if they were robbed, would that make it make sense? What the hell? What he called a true whodunit that would require all of his focus to try to solve. It was a real whodunit for about 6 weeks, wasn't it? Now, according to some, it still is. Jesus. We knew it was important. We knew it didn't fit there. Obviously, we knew that it appeared all four were killed by a knife. Moscow police officers secured the home to give detectives their best chance at finding the killer, Gilbertson said. Not even James Fry, the then local police chief and former investigator, entered the crime scene. Do y'all not trust your chief? What the fuck? Chief, get in here and take a look at this shit. This is not good. We got a bad deal on our hands. We got to find this guy, person, woman. Chief, don't go in. Not for a while. Let them process. I get it. The hours police waited to begin collecting evidence until a search warrant was approved at about 5 p.m. And we do know they had to wait on their search warrant. What time did Madbit get there for? Hundreds of reports released by the Moscow Police Department and reviewed by the Statesman. We did too, Statesman. We did the same thing. Showed police quickly cordoned off the area and began tasking officers with varying assignments. Except we went through all 300. Y'all just went through a couple. The initial responder identified college-age people gathered out front of the house. We all seen the picture of that. Another officer logged the people entering the home, and a corporal took initial photos, and patrolmen stood guard at the sliding glass door in the kitchen, which was found ajar. Was it found ajar or open? Can I want to see the picture? Because there's a reason I'm asking, because I need to know what happened with Murphy. Because Kaylee didn't walk Murphy that night. Maddie and Bethany did. And then they couldn't find Murphy for a while. But what we don't know is when Murphy turned back up. So, 1112, loud barking dog. Where was Murphy? If Kohberger entered the home, right, and left that back sliding door open. Now, if Murphy had been outside the whole time because Kaylee passed out and the dog was roaming, did he come back in once that door was left ajar or open? Or was he upstairs in the room the whole time and then chased the dude out the back door when he realized there was commotion happening? Because I'm going to tell you, I feel like it was too easy for cops to go in and rule out who the hell that dog was on that video. You question all the neighbors in the neighborhood, everybody back on Walenta, who's got dogs? Because that dog sounded real close to that camera. But yet the roommates texting back and forth don't mention a thing about a dog barking. I hear a noise. I see a guy. I need to run down. I think I saw Xana passed out on her floor. Never a dog barking at 419, 417. Dylan mentions in the PCA, I heard a dog and I thought it was Kaylee playing with the dog, right? But I still need to know what Murphy's movements were between the time the girls walked him that night and the time that camera recorded a dog barking. Yeah, Carrie, it does sound like a big breed, but I was having a conversation with Dolphin last night, and she mentioned how, and this is how she rolls, she went and found some videos of these types of dogs barking. You'd be surprised. So that led us to the conversation of what time did those girls fall asleep that night, and did anybody ever let Murphy back in before they all went to sleep? That we don't know. You know what I mean? Was he out there roaming around when Koberger pulls up? I don't know where this damn dog was, and it's bothering me. More than a dozen people, including 2 roommates who survived the stabbings, family members, and friends of the victims, were taken to the police station about a mile away for interviews. The only family there was Xana's dad and sister, and the Chapin siblings. One after another, they were questioned by detectives as those who remained waited within the department's second floor training room. Remember, Ann Taylor had requested the video cameras from the lobby because she wanted to make sure they separated all these witnesses. Yeah, we'll call them witnesses. One after another, they were questioned by detectives as those who remained waited within the department's second floor room. Okay. Officers canvassed neighborhoods to obtain video from every house with a surveillance system, according to police reports. Footage from a camera in the light bulb base of the immediate neighbor's balcony would become another critical piece of evidence. And boy, did it, right? If they didn't have that damn ring cam at 1112, well, they'd have the sheath DNA eventually. FBI's not going to fail us now. The next day, November 14th, investigators focused on what could be the key to unlocking the entire case. Oh, and another thing. When we see Molly, the DoorDash driver, walking around with a flashlight out there, I was looking at everything. I don't see a dog running around. I don't see Murphy. I don't even see Molly's dog in her hand. I see a DoorDash bag in one and a flashlight in the other. I don't know what Molly's out there doing, unaware that the Idaho slasher is right around the corner. She's going to be out there walking around with her flashlight. But I don't see a dog running around. Didn't hear a dog barking either. A former U.S. Marine, Gilbertson had a particular familiarity with the lethal weapon issued to members of that military branch. He knew with certainty that someone wielding the combat-style knife could have carried out such carnage, he added. And they'd already realized that it was a K-bar sheath. The tips of K-bar knives are known to break off when used in combat, Gilbertson said. That didn't happen in this attack, and no parts of the murder weapon have ever been recovered. Huh, interesting. Remember that sharpener he bought? I could just visualize that sharpening. I want my tip to break off. Troopers drove south of Meridian the day after the murders to hand deliver it to the Idaho State Police Crime Lab to begin inspecting it for potential DNA, Gilbertson said. Meanwhile, in Moscow, an officer was sent to local businesses to ask about possible K-bar sales. Remember, we went through all the documents about that, guys, so they were looking their broad Google search about who was looking at K-bars and the searches they did at the different places, trying to figure out who was purchasing these K-bars. The picture of Murphy under the desk was heartbreaking serious. Like, the dog was like, fuck all of y'all, I'm done. It's been a long, stressful night, and I don't know none of y'all. And my owner, so I can't. Yeah, poor guy. I like seeing Murphy live his best life on the Instagram now. Every now and then I'll go look. accidentally, because I don't ever think to get on Instagram unless I'm researching, we'll call it that. A police spokesperson, Ann Dollinger, who was a captain with the department at the time, denied specific inquiries into K-Bar knives around town in the investigation's first few weeks. We wanted to protect that information from any potential, the suspect is still out there, Dollinger said last week. So if we let it slip or let it be known that we're looking specifically for a K-Bar knife, that would tip them off that we found the sheath and that we've got a piece of evidence here. I think the fact that it wasn't in the kill kit, once he got away from the crime scene, he knew the sheath was in the house. And Plan B was in motion. But scouring Moscow had been fruitless. By mid-afternoon on the 14th, the officer reported back a dead end. None of the sporting goods and hardware stores, nor the local Walmart, sold K-bars. His report read, records show police pursued other leads that ultimately led nowhere while the state crime lab examined the knife sheath. The Idaho State Police had already joined the case as reinforcement on day 2. The FBI was called in, Fry and Gilbertson told the Statesman. Investigators waited with bated breath to learn whether the state crime lab found anything. As police continued working the case, media attention and public interest surrounding the Student homicides began to soar. On November 20th, 2022, DNA results come in. A common idea persists, including among law enforcement, that if homicide investigations go without an arrest in the first 48 hours, the likelihood the case will be solved significantly drops off. Dollinger didn't know whether there was any truth to the 48-hour rule. What? Statistically, sir, you're a cop. You don't know nothing? But he said after chasing down lead after lead, he began to feel like investigators might be running out of possibilities. You have those ups and downs, that roller coaster of emotions daily, he told the Statesman. Excitement about a new lead, and then it's dashed. Something else comes up, and then it's dashed. It just wears you down. Now imagine it did. If you can imagine going to the Walmarts and the sporting goods, especially right there where the Farm Road stop took place, there's that sporting goods right there. Nobody sold the K-bar, right? And you're like, well, fuck, where do I even look? Oh, wait, let's go do a broad Google search for it. See how many people in the country looked up K-bars. How's that going to narrow it down for you? Historically, law enforcement in the region has been able to crack such cases, even past murder investigations. Within a day, maybe 2, Gilbertson said, even in this case, detectives believed they would settle on their suspect by the next day. Not without your sheath, you wouldn't have. It's just it wasn't gonna happen. WSU had already flaked on you guys because they weren't looking for the same car you were. And now we're getting discrepancy reports about were they helping you or were they not. I don't understand that discrepancy, but I'll let y'all have it, boo. I don't know what about this infighting. I don't know. Y'all pointing fingers at each other's state. What was your guy? No, it was your guy. No, we're not going to talk to each other. It's weird. That is unless they were suspecting somebody in law enforcement. That's how it goes for most of us of the time. For us most of the time. So the realization as we got into the day 3 and 4 that we don't have anybody, that really changes everything greatly. And so that's when we formed and set up a command structure, different teams for a long-term investigation. Yeah, you needed a long-term investigation because this was I thought for sure, right? 4 people in a house. Just knowing what I know about true crime and crime scenes and all the things from all the years of watching and consuming, 4 people stabbed to death, and surely there's some evidence dropped or left behind, right? Something. And then you would think if this was really a sloppy college kid, like a 19, 20, 21-year-old drunk college kid, mad in the moment or getting a revenge, it's going to be a super sloppy scene. Right? Something's going to get dropped, left. Someone's going to panic later and tell mommy I did something horrible. I don't know. It seemed like a very deliberate crime scene, and I think law enforcement knew that. That really changes everything greatly. Okay, obtaining footage from the immediate neighbor's security camera, I'm sorry, y'all, I don't feel good, proved to be a challenge to investigators in the first week. Obtaining footage from the immediate neighbor's security camera proved to be a challenge. Why? Because y'all broke it? Mm. And the girl went out of town, and y'all was having to go back and forth. Within hours of arriving at the crime scene, a corporal in a police report said he collected a memory card from the surveillance camera. Investigators ran into technical difficulties and were unable to pull any footage, so they returned the card, hoping to obtain recordings of what the camera captured in the neighborhood. Early that morning, with the neighbors' help. Remember, they absolutely had to reach out to her and do all that. For days after the homicides, November 17th, an officer reached back out to the neighbor to obtain the footage. So this is the 17th. The crimes were the 13th. But we learned she'd left Moscow until the end of the month. Remember, we read about that. The next day, another person who lived at the house was able to pull up the footage from the night of the killings on her phone and screen record it. And we read that report as well. She gave the videos to an officer who also took the entire camera and router as evidence. And there's your 407 of the video of the house. Lord, I saw somebody analyzing Running Man coming out of that house, and they're like, "Ew, he got into a car. He ran down the damn street, like literally 15 times zoom on Statesman is going to look like he ran like the Bionic Man, but he jogs toward Taylor Avenue. End of story. He didn't jump into a car. He didn't disappear into a manhole or portal over there with Lori. None of that shit. Even on 15 times speed, you could see exactly where the dude ran to. But y'all go ahead with your analytical selves. As the investigation extended into its first week, law enforcement was still awaiting word from the crime lab about the knife sheath. Meanwhile, Dollinger said they worked to build the case. The rest of it was just good old-fashioned police work. Was it now? Literally boots on the ground. Oh my God. That is a kind of a phrase I'm a little bit over. Can I say that? Canvassing the entire town. Talking to anybody and everybody and gathering video and audio, whatever we could from everybody. November 20th, 7 days after the homicides, the Idaho State Police got the results. Lab analysis, according to court records, found a single source of male DNA on the button snap of the sheath. Yeah, Jed, I agree. There was nothing nefarious about the guy running out the door toward Taylor Ave. Nothing at all. He didn't run toward King Road House, did he? They ran the profile through the FBI, but they're looking and picking the craziest stuff to talk about. Like, I can't. They ran the profile through the FBI's national DNA database. I mean, I noticed the guy run out the door, and I even said it on my live. Look, there's a Running Man number 2, as I call him, because Linda Lane's got Running Man also. That's Running Man 1, which I felt like was a booty call run. Got to get home before the old lady wakes up. That situation. This was another Running Man situation, but where they running to? Not toward the crime scene. While one guy's driving toward it, these guys are running away from it. Okay. Yeah, take it all with a grain of salt, including me. Y'all know I can be salty, so you damn sure go check out what I say too. Hell, do your own research, right? Nah, my commentary is just my own, but I do try to bring y'all facts. He boarded. Okay. The next day, police sergeant drove down from Moscow to Meridian to retrieve the DNA profile from the crime lab to make it out of state for help to try to identify its source. He boarded a flight from Boise to Houston on November 22nd with the DNA, packed in a vial inside an envelope sealed with evidence tape and placed in a box from the lab in a backpack he carried on and never left his sight. Could you imagine being on a plane carrying a DNA sample in the backpack going, God, I hope nobody steals it? Hope it doesn't get lost. The sergeant brought it directly to Othram, a private forensic lab in Texas that works with law enforcement on unsolved cases. And I've seen many people on the Twitter saying, why would they solve unsolved cases? Well, no shit. But do you know what else they do? Have you bothered to look? 2.5 years into the Idaho 4 case, and we've always known about Othram's involvement. Y'all just now looking? Seriously? Okay. Since summer 2021, Idaho Statesman Police has contracted with Othram to use investigative genetic genealogy, or IgG, to help close cases. The advanced DNA technique, which includes leveraging public ancestry databases to build a family tree and work backward to narrow the list of possible suspects, has traditionally been reserved for cold cases. Unless you're the Golden State Killer. Oh, wait, then they wanted you over in Delphi too, right? Golden State Killer people? Oh, they're like, no, 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 we don't need you after all. We don't got no DNA in Delphi. That's not allowed. This case exemplifies why Othram was built to overcome the limitations of traditional forensic DNA technology and bring certainty to investigations, whether current or cold. Well, Rex Hjorman's trying to get some hairs into court right now. Then once that happens, I want them same hairs sent to that lab and tested from the Delphi case, please. Othram, by that point, had helped Idaho solve a few cold cases. It was now involved in not only its first active investigation for the state, the company said, but the highest profile case in America. So they were contracting with Othram. They were already doing that, but they don't have murders and high crime like some of our cities do out there, right? Where they got to all be testing DNA constantly. Um, if the ISP lab can develop profiles and tests, then so be it. But if we can't, we got to go to Othram. And this was the first time they had to do it, right? Whoops. We were trying to find whatever connection we could, and we're looking at all potential angles, right? Dallinger said. Very early on, we were like, okay, this could have been drug related. Yeah, it could have been. Could it have been family related? Yeah, you can't take it off the table. Could it have been? I mean, there were a million different theories. What love triangle was one of my first ones. Got a male and several women at home dead. Was there a love triangle? That was, honest to God, my first thought. Why would college kids kill college kids? Love triangle? Possibly. Jealous boyfriend? It's going to be your first go-to. So a lot of their theories were dashed very quickly. And there's Dallinger taking boxes into the U-Haul. Investigators reviewed bank records, social media accounts, dating apps, and other records for any piece of information. The investigation dragged on with still no news on the DNA. The case's most promising evidence, lead investigators felt like they'd hit a wall, now into the 5th week. Day after day, we were chasing down thousands of tips and leads, and nothing is producing anything, Gilbertson said. Nothing was producing anything, not even your footage of a car. And it's not y'all's fault the car couldn't be seen clearly. Well, let's just call it what it was. It's not your fault the grainy footage was grainy, right? Y'all act like we throwing shade at you because none of us can tell what kind of car that was for sure. But they just need to be honest and be like, well, I don't know if we'd ever got there. Let's just be honest. Without that damn IgG, this is why it should become mainstream and part of a tool that we use besides whispering about it, right? Let's make it a known tool. The attorneys can fight the process, not me. Day after day after day after day, we're chasing down thousands of tips and leads, and nothing is producing anything, Gilbertson said. As one example, a partial footprint that police found on the home's second floor and detailed with a diamond-shaped pattern in the probable cause affidavit never got them anywhere. Wow. Why not? Was the shoe print already there? And then somebody stepped on top of the shoe print, depositing blood onto the shoe print. Was it a partial print from where somebody walked through? Did it not match any of Dylan's shoes? Did not match Hunter Johnson's shoe? And I say that because he goes from first floor to second floor to Xana's room to the kitchen to retrieve a knife and back to Xana's room. Was that Hunter's footprint? Always was curious as to which direction that footprint was headed. Toward the kitchen, up third floor stairs, or coming down the stairs, right? Did he step off onto the landing, pointing toward the living room? That was always that directional point of that shoe print was something I always wanted to know. Is that weird? It would lead me to believe where his movements were, right? Which way he went, first, second, last. I don't know. It could tell me something. But apparently, they couldn't match it to any shoe. Not even the database on shoe tread. Come on now, I like them databases. They got tons of pictures of shoes and impressions. Like, you'd be shocked at how much they have out there in these databases. Needing a spark, investigators asked Othram to halt its efforts after it built the DNA profile needed for use in IgG. So they build the profile out. And they can only go so far because Othram's got to go the legal way. And they did find 2 matches on that family tree that were the brothers that were related to Kohberger. And we read in documents, this is not a rumor, documents stated they didn't want to cooperate. They didn't want to get involved. And do we blame them or not? I don't know. I'm not trying to blame them. I'm just saying they didn't want to get involved. How would I feel if I got approached by the FBI and they're like, look, we're looking at your DNA family tree. I'm like, well, what the hell for? I got a bunch of family members. Which one done messed up now? I don't know if I'll help you or not. What'd they do? What are the charges? Could you elaborate, please? Oh, goodness. I'll always do the right thing, but I'm just people. I'm in a mood. Can y'all tell? Needing a spark, investigators asked Othram to halt. Okay. They had further resources. Okay, so they wanted to give it to the FBI stepped in and took over. Federal agents were handed full access to the profile on December 13th. I got to write that down. I got to stop taking notes. I'm running out of paper. I don't want to go to the store. It's a whole thing. I like staying at home. And I live like less than 5 minutes from the Dollar General, so I'm just complaining now to be complaining. And y'all know I don't like complaining, but whatever. I don't feel good, so I'm going to complain today. Don't y'all hate when you got a shitty half-ass cold that just makes you ugh? Like, not enough to just like stay in bed, because I'm so sick of that. And it's in the documents when they gave this up, but how come okay, I got questions. I'll get them all together. When they began combing through databases for match, they had further resources and some capabilities that we thought may get us somewhere quicker. Did they now? They had further resources and some capabilities. Like no law of the land for the FBI, right? Like that's not even new information. Like, hasn't it always been that way and people are just getting it? Y'all never read up on the FBI before? Okay. I'm not trying to fight the FBI. They do a lot of shady shit that I don't even want to know about, right? I'm not here to fight the FBI on what they do in the back doors. I think that was the inception of the agency to begin with, is because they could and would. We're all just like, what? Just 6 days later, on the evening of the 19th. Okay, wait, I said the 27th earlier, and I misspoke. It was okay. Wait, I thought it was the 17th, actually. Anyway, just 6 days later, on the evening of December 19th, Payne and Gilbertson got a call. The FBI had a name, Kohberger. So that was pretty quick, though, if you think about it. If they get the DNA profile on the 13th, so 6 days later, they've got Kohberger's name. I wonder who built that tree out for them. Was it CC Moore or that other lady? They're really good and fast, right? Did they train the FBI's IGG people on their methods? How many people turned up on that family tree? Wow. Y'all sling your DNA wherever y'all want it. Mine's right here inside my body. And whatever I shed into my home. I try not to go too many places, and I certainly ain't giving it up for free. I don't care about the ancestors, because here's the thing about ancestors: they know who you are, and they're coming to you, and they talk to you constantly. You just got to be open to it and hear them. You ever hear that little voice in the back of your head says, "That's enough, honey"? If you're stirring in a seasoning to your pot and you hear a little voice, that's enough. That's your ancestors talking to you. How am I going to make this work? Oh, yeah. Well, that's your ancestors telling you. It was absolutely surreal, just absolutely incredible. Disbelief, Gilbertson said. Any cheer was brief and had to be. As quickly as we had it, we went to work. Now, you can't walk into court and convict on IGG. They could never have walked into that court and said, all we got is this IGG saying it's his DNA and it matches that one piece of evidence that we have. That was never going to be allowed. IGG is an investigative tool. Now that you got your name, as with any investigation, you got a name, now go find your evidence. Name alone's not going to do you any good. Even if you got his DNA, you still got to have some evidence, right? To back it up. And IGG was not coming into court. They'd already settled that before Kohberger took his little plea deal. They'd already had a hearing and decided, both parties, the judge, the prosecution, defense, we're not coming into court and saying we got Kohberger's name through IGG. We're going to walk into court and tell the jury it was a tip. Jury's not going to want to know what that tip was. Like, wild man running around town with crazy eyes. What kind of tip? Would they have cared? Would they have asked a question, right? Would you guys have asked a question? I probably would have, because I asked too many. They'd have been like, ma'am, we're going to be in deliberations for 5 fucking weeks because you got too many questions. Sometimes I don't have that many. Sometimes it's right in black and white in your face, right? All right, so Kohberger was a graduate student at Washington State University, just over the Idaho state line in Pullman. He hadn't been brought up as a suspect to that point. His 2015, he hadn't been. As of December 19th, Kohberger was not on your radar, even though WSU spotted the car in the parking lot a month earlier and pulled the man's ID. And according to your probable cause affidavit, they noticed he had bushy eyebrows in the picture. So the secret's out of the bag now. Can we stop lying about IGG going forward? Even the FBI was proud of it in their little press conference. Yeah, we use the IGG. Here we come. Y'all get ready. We're not going to hide it anymore because it was just used to solve the biggest high-profile case of the fucking century. We ain't heard the last IGG. 2015 White Elantra had been excluded in a list of potential vehicles because they had initially requested 2011 to 13 models, though they later broadened the search. But once they knew about Kohberger, he checked all the boxes. Oh, that's not a good, that's a gray area right there. Now I don't know if I want to be prosecutor or defense. God darn it, I'm so conflicted. I'm not trying to defend this guy. I'm just, from a legal aspect, some of this stuff catches me. I'm like, wait, what? Kohberger wasn't in Pullman. Investigators said they learned that same night he'd left for the holiday break from school to return to eastern Pennsylvania. So when the FBI got his name, They had a dossier on him immediately. Where this guy lives, where he went to school, what he drove, all the things about Bryan Kohberger the FBI could find. Didn't matter a half hour to an hour, they had it all. You're like, dude's not even no longer in your freaking state. He's across the country. FBI, did y'all follow him across country? Because that's still a big, highly debatable thing. People are like, no, yeah, no, we don't know. They've said no. He's just a bad driver and got stopped twice back to back in Indiana, of all places. Kohberger, you lucky you didn't get thrown in the Indiana prison right there with Rick Allen, never to see the light of day again. Actually, too bad you weren't arrested in Indiana. Actually, good thing you weren't, because then we'd be sitting here fighting with the people saying you didn't get a fair trial. Shit. Never mind. The next day, December 20th, the FBI dispatched to his parents' home in the Pocono Mountains, Gilbertson said. He declined to provide specifics, citing confidential operations. So your confidential operations were a little bit laid out in a motion in limine. But agents were inside the tucked-away gated community and confirmed Kohberger was there. There was a document released early in this case, and it was one of the first times that Anne let stuff ever so gracefully slide in through a document that we didn't know before. And it talked about the police. It was very early in this case, about how they got into the community and was watching him. So I go to the map because I've lived in a house where the person across the street was being watched. And I noticed it because the car they chose to park in a yard to watch the other neighbor. And in the person's yard they parked in, it was the kind of old man you didn't even look at his grass sideways. There was never going to be a person he didn't know in his fucking driveway in the middle of the night. You can't get one past me. I'm peeking out the blinds. I know who belongs and who don't. And they were watching this guy across the street. And I watched the whole bus go down through my windows. But I went on the map and I looked around Kohberger's home. I'm like, where were they parked at watching him, right? Were they sitting across the street? There's really nowhere to park and hide unless you're sitting in the neighbor's driveway. And if you're smart like me or a Kohberger who's peeking out the fucking windows constantly, you're going to know somebody's out there watching. I always wondered that. So they got him in there. They snuck in and they were watching him. They began around-the-clock surveillance of the Kohberger family home. Gilbertson said, as Idaho investigators hurriedly worked toward establishing the grounds for an arrest. Establishing the grounds. The investigation, which had expanded into its 6th week, moved quickly at that point. So they got the Linda Lane footage. I mean, they got the 1112 by this time. They see this white car. And that's all they have is a white car. They don't know if it's tied to the case or not. It's really strange that it's circling around the area, but we don't know what it means. But now we got a name to go with that DNA. No, wait, what? He drives a white car too? Holy shit. Now let's get some cell phone records. On December 23rd, Payne received a search warrant for the location data. It took 4 days. It showed at least a dozen visits to the coverage area of the South Tower near the King Road home, he wrote in a report. All of these occasions, except for one, occurred in the late evening and early morning hours of their respective days. Now, ABC leaked that 2 years ago, maybe almost 2 years ago. I made a video about it. We've always known about at least the first 12 pings. We knew about them for a long time. Then it evolved to, there was 23 total. So I guess when he data wiped his phone, they could still tell he had. Why would you data wipe some stuff and not all of it, right? Was he trying to establish a pattern? Look, I do visit Moscow. I go shopping. I'm still trying to figure out. I want to pick this dude's brain about this stupid phone. I cannot help myself. 4 days later, on December 27th, investigators waited for the chance and took trash from the Koberger home, Payne wrote in the report. It was flown to the Idaho State. Now, we read in damn court documents that they absolutely went to the neighbor's trash and pulled trash. So, what's going on here? 4 days later, on the 27th, investigators waited for their chance and took trash from the Koberger's home. Now, this is where they're going to get Dad's DNA. Payne wrote in the report, it was flown to the Idaho State Lab, police crime lab for analysis, where analysis the next day matched a discarded Q-tip as the single source of the male DNA found at the crime scene, and it was the father. The match was the father. Payne filed for an arrest warrant on December 29th. So you can use your DNA, but you can't say it was because of IgG. But you can say we know that's his DNA. Look here, we swabbed him once we arrested him. But why did you arrest him? Only because it matched his DNA? So are we kind of back? It's a gray area, but apparently not gray enough because Ann Taylor couldn't get any of this thrown out. And Lord knows she tried. Hours later, about 1 a.m., the FBI and Pennsylvania State Police are mobilized in the neighborhood and executed a raid. I think they need to tighten up the IgG stuff a little bit, guys, because it's going to be challenged in the future. It's going to be completely and heavily challenged unless they tighten up and say, okay, this is a legit tool that we are no longer going to keep secret. Because if it's going to come into the mainstream, suspect it's going to be challenged. And fine, whatever, constitutionalists, do your thing. But let's get it out of the dark. Because that's why this whole case turned into what it turned into. When you do things in the dark, like Delphi, bad things happen. And speculation just runs amok. December 30th, 2022, Bryan Kohberger arrested at 2 a.m. on December 30th. Payne and Gilbertson sat across from the man they had been after for 7 weeks. For the next 45 minutes, they interviewed Kohberger, then 28 years old, who police believe fatally stabbed the 4 students. Based on guidance from the FBI's Behavioral Analysis Unit, Payne told reporters they tried to keep it pretty surface level just to get him comfortable in speaking. So the behavioral unit people told you to do that? I felt like that was kind of like what cops do. A good cop, bad cop. Let's make you feel comfortable, and here comes the bad guy in a minute and he'll start screaming at you. They're just going to keep it casual and let him talk. I would. I let him sit there and talk. Say whatever you want to say, buddy. You go right ahead. You got the right to remain silent, though. Don't forget. So we know that he was worried about his mom and his dog, or parents and the dog. So they kept it surface level and to get him comfortable in speaking. They had asked them several times to make sure his parents and that the dog were okay. See, he liked his dog, guys. I'm telling you. Did you try to make friends with the dog, dude? Who was your true target? Did you go to Kaylee's room first and couldn't find her? Because you knew she was back in town because she posted it all over social media. I'm back. Was that go time? And I'm looking dead at them crazy eyes when I ask that question. I want to ask them in person. Kohberger was advised of his Miranda rights, that he could choose to remain silent, and 3 made small talk, according to damn small talk. Another report written by Payne. Kohberger said he was a first-year PhD student. We read that in the document too, where he was talking to him about his little. That he's going to tell him to something about go get coffee. He's not into football. Yeah, he's into baseball. Yeah. Kohberger said he was a first-year PhD student in WSU's criminology program. They also spoke about sports. Kohberger told them he didn't much follow the Cougars football team and was more of a baseball fan. Kohberger applied to WSU and University of California, Irvine's criminal justice doctoral programs. He said because neither required a graduate entrance exam. WSU accepted him and his father. And he and his father took the road trip over, and they arrived July 1st. Okay, we've known that. Text messages obtained through a subpoena and explained in the report show that WSU professors had discussed with Koberger his interactions with the female students. We've known all of that. They're just laying out the whole entire damn case that I already know. Most of you guys know. Um, let's see right here though. What's this say? Okay. In mid December, Koberger's father flew to Pullman and they began a cross country road trip back to Pennsylvania in his son's white Hyundai Elantra. During the drive, they were pulled over by law enforcement twice in a 10-minute span just east of Indianapolis and stops that the FBI long denied had anything to do with him being tailed. Koberger and his father were back in Pennsylvania by December 16th. So while he's on the road, they get his DNA results back. They were back by December 16th. I wonder what date they actually got back on. It's in one of the documents. Was it the 16th? And the FBI had not landed on his name until the 19th. The case's lead prosecutor also recently reiterated to the New York Times that the back to back traffic stops were totally coincidental. Because I don't know how to drive. Koberger had interest in becoming a professor, he told two Idaho detectives, because he loved college. He's going to be alive longer. And knowledge, like that Aperture guy, what was that dude's name that been pursuing his degree for 100 years? Koberger would have got his and then went into teaching. I'm never leaving college. There's pretty girls everywhere. Grow the fuck up, people. You graduate college and you put all that alcohol down and you go live a real adult life. Some of y'all carry the alcohol with you forever, but hey. Koberger had interest in becoming a professor. Koberger didn't say much of anything about the case in Moscow as he returned to his coursework at WSU. Pierce told the Statesman days after his arrest, but he was tracking it. Gilbertson said. On Koberger's phone, investigators found saved screenshots of local news stories about the student's death. Screenshots, not a saved article or just where he went and viewed an article. But he's taking screenshots of the headlines. Oh, that's weird. You think so, Carrie? I'm just looking at you guys' comments about it being go time. I don't know. Let's see. It's like, did he go to Kaylee's door first and not see her, and that's what prompted him to go to Maddie's? Or did he go to Maddie's first because that's exactly where he wanted to go? That's one of those questions we don't know yet, right? Or answers to a question we don't know. So he didn't say much of anything about the cases, and we know he was screenshotting the articles. During overnight surveillance in the days leading up to his arrest, Koberger was observed once very late at night walking in dark clothing around his parents' neighborhood. But reports that law enforcement witnessed him throwing trash away in his neighbor's garbage were untrue, Gilbertson said. Reports that claimed they saw Koberger using bleach to clean his car, which he drove back to Pennsylvania with his father, were also false. Yeah, it was never in a document that y'all found bleach. Y'all saw him cleaning his car. I don't assume it's bleach. I assume that he's got privy to a bunch of type of chemicals that went up. Yeah. Remember what the guy was doing at the college, what he was studying. If you're my sister, you're going to pour bleach on everything because it kills it. But I am the kind of person, I am allergic to bleach and can't stand to be anywhere near it. Like, I won't even allow it in my home. I will live it, eat it, and breathe it for days if I touch bleach. I got other things to clean with. I do not need the bleach. That's gross. Plus, if you clean with bleach, the smell is overwhelming and it's an obvious. That's why everybody's like, oh, a cleanup occurred at 1122. Really? Because y'all don't think the cops didn't smell that when they walked in the house? No signs of a cleanup? there's no blood. But we got 4 dead people. And what is that strange smell? Forensic Files is your friend. During overnight surveillance in the days leading up to his arrest, Koberger was observed walking around the neighborhood, but he didn't throw any trash away. I think that was online stuff, Gilbertson told the Statesman. How about it was in an actual court document, Mr. Sir? I'm going to have to find it now. We did not ever through surveillance, see that or observe that at all. Koberger made a break for it as police forcefully entered and tried to get downstairs, headed for his room in the basement. Dude, if you're going toward the basement, plan B cannot swing to action because you got nowhere to go. Was there a basement door that you were going to escape out of? Koberger made a break for it as police forcefully entered and tried to get downstairs, headed for his room. To his 9mm? Included on a search warrant list of dozens of items police seized. Mommy, don't let him down here. I'm not home. Shh. You haven't seen me. Included on a search warrant list of dozens of items police seized from the home were the Glock handgun, 2 items identified as green leafy substance, and the book with the underlined page 118. Fixler, can you ask them what the picture of the, what did they take a picture of but left? Was it just the iPad? Inquiring minds want to know. Okay, so now they go into about how the, big bad marijuana could be legal and all that. And then again, the book. So, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. What a catchy little title, right? There's so many myths out there about bleach. I'm not even trying to teach people, Carrie, anymore, right? Y'all go Google that shit and look it up. My sister thought bleach could kill everything too until she found out she was wrong. I tried to tell her. Google is also your friend. The smell of bleach is just so overwhelming. You cannot hide that stuff. All right. Then he goes into the sentencing and all that. So I'm just kind of tired of reading their little report there because we know what it says, right? We know the gist of it. I'm going to take a look at you guys' comments. Jet, that's one theory that also that she was in her room, right, with the dog and heard something and got up to go check it out. That's so plausible. But Dolphin and I did agree on one thing last night. Our theory, and I say our, mine and hers, because we've had 2.5 years to discuss this case. So we both had a theory, a working theory, that we were, fine, we'll change our minds at any time. So going back to Kaylee coming into the room. If Kaylee had walked into that room and Koberger began to attack her as she come in the door, we would see a lot of evidence at the opening to Maddie's door that we don't see. There's no blood on the bottom of Maddie's comforter on the foot of the bed, and only a couple of spots on the door. So no attack occurred at the opening of the doorway to Maddie's room. That's my final conclusion on that. All of it seems to be contained to the bed. Unless Kaylee walks into the room and is met with a punch versus a stab. Several hard punches, and then thrown up on a bed, and then somebody gets on top of you and begins a bloody attack. It could have happened a lot of ways. Yeah, I don't keep bleach in my house either, Carrie. I'm not trying to kill myself today. I kind of it's so horrible. I cannot tolerate that stuff. I don't know why. I'll taste it for days. I don't even use it in my laundry. I don't buy anything with bleach cleaner in it. Well, some Clorox wipes. I can handle those, right? But I cannot handle full-on bleach in my home. Not happening. All right, guys. I appreciate y'all coming in and letting me rant a little bit and listening to this. And reading this 118. I can't so Butterfly, what I meant by was, well, that was disappointing because I wanted to see what 118 was, and I thought it was going to be a little more involved than a self-help book, right? We were wondering, was it sadistic bullshit from Elliot Rogers or from the Bundy books or whatever it was? What was it, right? And it turns out it's a self-help book, which goes back to my theory. This dude's been trying to figure out what's wrong with him most of his life. Don't know if he'll ever figure it out, but he was trying. Don't mean he was making progress. Obviously, he wasn't. Self-help wasn't going far, was it? He needed to get the damn shit. I don't even know if a whole library of self-help books would have helped that guy. Carrie, I'm a Lysol person too. I'm not gonna lie. That's my go-to. Got it right here. Got it in the kitchen. Got it in the bathroom. I got that shit everywhere. I do the Lysol. It does not overwhelm me like the damn bleach. But guys, my voice is starting to go, and I feel like I need a nap. I feel like those cats lately on the YouTubes. Oh, I took a nap today. I had so much to do, but I just took a nap instead. I've done that for 2 days, basically in between reading and documents and reading, actually reviewing a couple of things I'm putting together for upcoming shows. So I appreciate you guys being patient while I was off the last couple of days. I don't know that I'll be back in the morning. I'm going to have to play it by ear at this point in time. Unless something pops off that we want to talk about, depending on how good I feel in the morning. The title of the book, though, right, Butterfly? What the hell? The title alone was enough to go, what? Like, that was more intriguing than what was written on the page. All right, Jet, thank you guys for coming in. Thank you for wishing me to feel better. I appreciate all of you. I do miss you when I don't come on and run my mouth with you guys. And I just, of course, opinions and theories will be shared, but when you talk about stuff that just don't make no sense, I can't with that. But I appreciate all you guys coming in with and being a part of the conversation and hanging in there with us. And turn your notifications on, subscribe, do all the things, and y'all keep an eye out. And I might be back in the morning. We'll see. Y'all have a good one.
Thank you all for watching this here video.